In today's tutorial, we're going to go through and learn how to set up a trial using DIFM.farm. So first, we've navigated to the DIFM.farm website. We've gone through, we found our farm. Now we're in our fields, and we're going to use this GMS field right here. We're going to click on trials. And we don't have any trials that we've tested in this field in the past, so we're going to add a trial. And here we're going to do a corn N rate 25. So year is 25. It's going to be corn. We're going to mark it as a test trial so it doesn't go into the database, which we're just testing. If we want to do this for sure, we'll unclick this and we can do that later. Click Save. So once we've added there, we can go in here to the green icon to configure the trial. We're going to first need to add an AB line. So we can do this from a shapefile or from latitude and longitude points. And then we need to name this. We're just going to name this GMS AB25. And I'm just going to import a file that I already have. Here is our AB line that we're going to use for this field. We're going to farm going this way back and forth, so that gives us our correct heading. We have it named, so we're going to click Save. The next part, as far as trial, setting up a trial and trial inputs, is then configuring the trial. So this is where we need our harvester width, our headland distance, our sideland distance, the minimum and maximum plot lengths. So first of all, it's our harvester width, and this is just depending on your equipment, what it needs. And we're going to use a 30-foot head here. Headland distance really depends on your farming situation. So this isn't necessarily just the headland that you would normally plant. Say you have a 30-foot planter, you're going to plant 30 feet, do two rounds, you have a 60-foot headland. This headland distance is that, but we usually want to add a little bit more because when we're starting and stopping our machine and slowing down and speeding up, sometimes we have some differences. So we like to give ourselves a little bit more room. So if our normal distance for our headland is, say, 60 feet, we're going to go ahead and add just 90 feet. We're going to do 90 feet instead, just give us 30 more feet before we start the treatments to help us in that. Our sideland distance, we're just going to, since our planter is 30 feet, we're going to skip over those sidelands, those two passes, so we get the data more in the center of the field. So we're going to say 60 feet, and this all depends on your applicators and what you're testing. So we're really going to need to look at those. And so our minimum and maximum plot lengths here, you can change them to bigger or smaller, or we're just going to leave them as they are right now. So then we're going to click Done. So we've added our AB line, we've configured the trial, we can see those there. Then next is kind of the bigger part we all think about is we're adding the inputs. So we're going to go through a lot of these just generally and focus on them. So our input category, there's lots of different categories that we can use as far as the DIFM framework. You can see here we can do seeding rate, nitrogen, potassium, sulfur, lots of different things, blends, herbicides, cover crops, calcium, lime, lots of different things we can select. In this case, we're going to do a seeding rate. As far as our input item, based on what we chose here is what's going to come next. So here, this input could be corn, but also could be nitrogen, it could be urea, it could be phosphorus, it could be MAP or DAP. It could be lots, depending on what our category is what this is. And then we need to do what is our units. Are we measuring these seeds in thousands per acre? Are we measuring them, the urea in pounds per acre, or UAN in gallons per acre, things like that. So for this one, we have two options. We can do seeds or seeds thousands. Seeds thousand just means we put 34 instead of 34,000. So that's what we're going to do here. And this is on an acre basis. You can do hectare depending on where you are. So it already has our harvester width in there. We need to go down here, and so this has another trial that we've done on this farm using a fertilizer applicator, so it's already in there. So once you've input things into a farm and equipment, it shows here. But here we need to go ahead and add a piece of equipment, and this is where we can do it. So we want to use our planter. This is a 30-foot wide planter. If it has more than section control or row by row control, you can put in, however many sections are on the planter. We're just going to say 1 in this case. And it's not a harvester, so we're going to be an applicator here, even though it's a planter. So once we do that, we can go through and select it. And these will stay once you have them for that farm. So you can always just add them, or they'll just be there in the future. So we can see the information we added there. The next thing is the design. We can do a checkerboard or a strip. Always better if we can do the checkerboard because it helps us look at variation instead of just a long strip. So this input plot width is important because it really depends on what you're looking at. If you're looking at seeding rate and you're depending on what your combine size is, and this is something you kind of just talk about with the consultant or with the DIFM team to make sure this number is right. But for us, we have a 30-foot planter in this example. We also have a 30-foot harvester, so it kind of makes it easy. So we're going to 30 feet there. If you have a Terrigator, you're using urea, it's a 70-foot wide one, and your planter's 30, your input plot width is probably going to be 70 because that's how you're applying your inputs. So then we're going to look at our number of rates. We can do anywhere from, we just want to do a low and a high, or 3 rates. Here for this example, we're going to go ahead and do 6 rates. We're going to say our normal input, we're going to do about 35,000 seeds per acre. And as low, and then the next thing here is going to say how low are you willing to go? And for us in this example, we're going to go 28. You can go as low as you want. And this is your maximum. What's our maximum for this trial? We're going to say 40,000 seeds per acre. And then we're going to go through and choose the AB line. This is the AB line we input earlier. So we're going to choose that. So these are the different things we're looking at for our trial information. And we'll go ahead and click Done. So we've added our AB, we configured some of the basics, now we have our trial inputs. Next thing we're going to do is go ahead and create this design by clicking. You have to make sure we check this because you can do a couple different things. Say we want to do seeding rate, or maybe we want to do a nitrogen rate, or we want to do a product study with and without. We can put these in there and then create each one to see which one we like. But for this example, we're just going to create based on our seeding rate. Once this processes, we can then go down here and we can look at this trial design really quick, and we'll be able to go through that in another video here. But this is kind of what our trial design is and things we need to think about.